Hi guys, uh, welcome to my channel. Welcome everyone. Uh, in this video, I would be covering a few topics on Java, Code Java. I have shared a lot of videos earlier on Java, a lot of coding. I've explained some of the topics I've covered in Code Java. You can go through them on my channel. I have I have covered looping, types of looping, some star patterns I have shared, then concepts of overriding, overloading, constructor overloading, constructors, then uh, the concepts like inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism, and OOPS, as we call object-oriented programming. So today I will be covering a few topics like final, a few keywords like final keyword, abstract keyword, and in that context I would like to share a concept: static blocks. Blocks. What are blocks in Java? Static blocks or initializer, instance initializer blocks and instance initializer blocks. These are two types of blocks. In Java, we have got, if we categorize the code, say lots of lines of coding are there and we categorize them. Say there are methods, there are constructors. But apart from methods and constructors, sometimes we have sets of code that are not uh, that are not categorized as methods, that do not even look like methods or constructors. So what are they? They are blocks basically. And there can be two types of blocks: static blocks and initializer, instance initializer blocks. Now what are static blocks? Before explaining final, I wanted to explain static blocks, specifically static blocks. You will get to know why. So static blocks are basically certain set of code, set of instructions in your entire program, which uh, which run at runtime only once, and for whose running there is no need for object creation. We do not require that statement, class name object equal to new class A, new class name brackets, that invokes the constructor. We do not require that line for object creation and constructor invocation. We do not require that line for uh, for initializing the static blocks, for executing the static block. Static block, you can say, I shared public static void main, right? Like a main method which is static, which belongs to the entire class, for whose uh, execution no instance creation, object creation is required. So that sort of code in the program, explicitly declared static, does not require object creations for their running, and they run when the Java program loads in the memory at runtime. So it is an option for basically initializing uh, and setting up of the class. Initializing variables, you can initialize certain variables that you have declared, and and you need to initialize them. You need to ensure that a piece of code always runs in your program. So in that block, you can keep these set of code, like you want to set a value to a variable, and you need to ensure that value is to be set because you're going to use it, otherwise it may throw an error. So how to ensure that that piece of code will run for sure? We put it in the static block. So I will be showing this through coding in Java. Then then we have got instance initializer blocks. They are just opposite of the static blocks. For instance initializer blocks to execute, you need to have objects created, and when objects are created, those parts of code run. Only when the objects are created. And what happens is, when the object is created, a constructor is invoked. But if we suppose we do not define any constructor in the program, and we have got that block of code, which is instance initializer block, upon object creation, that part will get executed. And supposedly we have got a constructor defined in the program. So upon object creation, the constructor will be invoked, and then the instance initializer code block will be executed just after the constructor. So we can have a system.out.println in the constructor and a line in the instance initializer code block. To see this, to demonstrate this, you will see that the first system.out.println of the constructor displays, and then of the instance initializer code displays. So that is how it executes. There are certain rules, guidelines, which instance initializer block follows, like instance initializer code block will only execute upon object creation. Point number 1. Point number 2 is when we have got a constructor, and supposedly we have got two classes in a file, Java file. We have got two classes, and we have got each class's constructor in the class, in that class. Suppose there is one class A where there is a constructor of A, one class B, constructor of B, and then the main method in B, and we are creating object of B. So I think it's better I show it with the code. You will understand, you will be able to grasp that better, right? So let me show the code, because it will be easier to explain.